Hello there, a very good morning, and welcome to another edition of Talk of the Town. Joining us this morning is Amita Arudpragasam, an independent policy analyst. A very good morning, Amita, and welcome to the show.
Good morning.
Amita, we see that Sri Lanka is moving forward, of course. Whether or not Sri Lanka has policy is an entirely different question. Whether the general public really understands what these policies are is another matter entirely. But let's just look at a controversial piece of legislation and try and gauge if Sri Lanka is heading in the right direction as far as developing the country, as far as coming out of this economic crisis that we're in, and as far as setting Sri Lanka's policies straight. Now, this is the online safety bill that I'm talking about, a controversial piece of legislation that was passed recently. Sri Lanka's government claims that they are setting policies right, they're putting things in place, procedures that are lacking in Sri Lanka. What's your take on this?
I think it's a very controversial bill, as you pointed out, for several reasons. It has been opposed by the the Asian Internet Coalition on the basis that it's extremely draconian. It has been opposed by or objected to by the IT and BPM industries as well, on the basis that it is not going to help with IT industry or creating the digital economy. Our president says that he would like to create for this country, and so it's not going to really contribute to economic growth. And most importantly, perhaps, it has been criticized by UN special rapporteurs, human rights groups, civil society, journalistic organizations, on the basis that it actually limits certain constitutionally guaranteed fundamental rights, like our right to free speech and our right to express ourselves, and this it does by presenting. I mean, it is a very vaguely defined law. Certain terms and provisions are very vaguely defined. It has broad jurisdiction, and it provides a lot of power to these commissioners to suppress free speech. And so it's a law that on several counts, in several different aspects, is quite problematic. It is also quite a redundant law, actually, if you think about it. In Parliament, we had members of Parliament saying that it was a law that is going to actually safeguard women and prevent child abuse.
Do you feel safe now?
I don't feel safe, actually, and it's redundant because we have several existing laws, and we have for example, Section 345 of the Penal Code, which under which sexual harassment is a criminal offence. We have a Domestic Violence Act. We have the Computer Crimes Act of number 24 of 2007, and we have laws that
Obscene Publications Ordinance.
we have we have laws that actually can be used with the right kind of political will to provide online safety, as this bill purports to do. And yet we're creating a new piece of legislation that could have adverse impacts on our freedom of our right to express ourselves and on free speech, without actually addressing the law enforcement issues that or the kinds of the issues that prevent these pre-existing laws from being used to protect our safety online. It's a terrible. I would say it's a terrible law. It's a law that should be looked at with a lot of suspect, given the context in which it's being introduced, the rushed and hurried way in which it was pushed through Parliament without much of a transparent or informed debate. It's a law that we need to be careful about, because our existing media ecosystem, largely state-owned, where it's private-owned, the individuals who own private media are often politically connected, is already a very fragile ecosystem. So we don't need more legislation that can be used to crack down on the limited spaces that we have in this country to speak our minds and to express our opinions.
Thank you very much, Amita Arudpragasam, independent policy analyst, for joining us on our program. Well, of course, the bill hasn't been signed by the Speaker yet, so it hasn't been really converted into law. It'll take probably a couple of more weeks for the commissioners to be appointed. So, well, until then, you have the right to free speech. And after that, we will have to wait and see. Thank you very much to all our listeners out there as well. It's back to the Morning Fix on Yes 101.